Nice.
Nice.
So,
On today's episode 3, Tar and Feathered, I'm Tyler. Robert. Robert, we're going to be discussing today.
one of our favorite topics that can rabbit hole into an infinite amount of things, which is one of my favorites. Sovereign citizens.
What is a sovereign citizen?
Well, just so we make sure we hit the nail on the head, 100%. We're going to go with the Wikipedia definition, which I should have had pulled up.
The sovereign citizen movement.
Sovereign citizen movement. The sovereign citizen movement is a loose grouping of American and Commonwealth litigants, commentators, tax protesters, and financial scheme promoters. Self-described sovereign citizens see themselves as answerable only to their particular interpretation of the common law and as not subject to any government statutes or proceedings.
Already false. They're only subject to God's law.
Well, what about the atheists who are also sovereign citizens?
Are there atheist sovereign citizens?
Ooh. The FBI classifies some sovereign citizens as domestic terrorists. In 2010, the Southern Poverty Law Center estimated that approximately 100,000 Americans were hardcore sovereign believers. Wikipedia's quotes, not mine.
Wait, how many?
100,000 hardcore sovereign citizens, and another 200,000 just starting out testing sovereign techniques for resisting everything from speeding tickets to drug charges.
I didn't think it was that many.
Surveys conducted in 2014 and 2015, representatives of U.S. law enforcement ranked the risk of terrorism from sovereign citizen movement higher than the risk from any other group, including Islamic extremism.
Wait, what's the citation on that one?
There's not, sadly. It just says in surveys. But you know what? As far as domestic terrorism goes, because that doesn't have to necessarily mean mass shootings or anything else, but, just creating a general panic. Sovereign citizens, I could see that being very high.
Well, I don't really, though, understand, because terrorism is usually I'm trying to... Incite terror to push a political, religious type of
well, it is a
idea.
very political idea. To say, I am separate from the government of which I am a citizen.
But usually, terrorists are, again, they're trying to, push something. These guys are, the definition of, a narco-liberal that, just refuses to accept any type of rule over them.
I think they are, that extreme left version of a libertarian. If you go too far down that path, I think you end up on the sovereign citizen spectrum.
Super far left. So we're talking near, the communist type of area, then we'll also group in the sovereign citizens with them?
No.
Right next to Mao, Stalin, Pol Pot, retards on the road.
But the spectrum for libertarianism isn't the same left and right as the rest of the world, because they live in their own bubble.
That's very true.
Like our friend Wells.
Oh, man.
Which we can't say his first name, but Wells.
Yeah, Wells. He's a great guy.
Kind of looks like a leprechaun.
Kind of.
Actually, I think I get that because he did dress up as a leprechaun.
But yeah, I would... The reason why I was so happy to discuss this is because...
There's so much ammunition that they get.
Their videos are some of the most infuriating yet hilarious videos on the internet.
It's that perfect mix of, I can't believe you're this stupid, but I want to see it keep going.
They are some of the most ignorant, and I do mean that in the full way that word is meant. Just they lack knowledge. They are some of the most ignorant people that you see during these, traffic stops. Like, there'll be people that have no, like, literally cocaine or something in a car and are
What's
acting
their go-to?
far more intelligent than sovereign citizens are acting. Yet they perceive themselves and act in this accordance that they are the most intelligent humans, probably in a 10-mile radius.
Well, okay, I wouldn't even go that far, but they usually are very obviously uneducated people who try to appear educated, which they are so low on the education spectrum that they don't even realize that they're making themselves look even further down the road from that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. They are incredibly ignorant and yet will act as if they are the smartest people around.
I think the key to it is that they are always the victim.
Well, always. Have I committed a crime?
I'm not. Nothing I do is a crime unless have I murdered anybody. Am I posing a threat to the public?
It's always
running a stop sign isn't a threat to the public, apparently.
Yeah.
By a recent video we watched, that was wow.
Driving under the influence is also not a public safety hazard.
Not until you hurt somebody.
Not until you hurt someone.
Planning to murder somebody is different than actually doing it.
Absolutely. So if
I mean, both are prisonable offenses, but
if I hit and kill someone while drunk driving, that's illegal.
I fucked up. Take me in.
Absolutely. But if I'm just drunk
driving,
and
I didn't do
anything,
an intersection,
if I'm literally sleeping in the middle of an intersection, that's also not illegal.
Which, shout out to Donut Operator, for some reason you ever see this. Thank you.
He does make some really good
He does. I'm glad I stumbled upon that. His shit's kind of funny.
He does make some pretty funny videos.
Like, I see one on my screen right now. Leg shot, drops burglary suspect, and they're just sitting there sadly. I would also sit there sadly if someone shot me in the leg.
Yeah,
for any reason, let alone just trying to rob somebody.
And it always goes to one of my favorite expressions. Am I being detained? Am I being detained? So if I just simply...
That should be our next tattoo.
Am I, and the other
but you have to have it something you can show them, like on the palm of your hand. Am I being detained?
Am I being detained?
So you literally don't have to say anything.
Am I being... Oh, fuck.
No, then you have it like on the underside.
Detained.
And then underneath that, on the other hand, fifth.
Oh, yeah, and then Fifth Amendment.
Fifth Amendment.
And then...
So, am I being detained? Fifth Amendment.
And then just somehow, I don't know how, but across my middle finger is taxation is theft.
Oh, then you... That. Yeah, that's the, like, on top of the knuckle. So, you can say, like, a message, like, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. That's like...
Am I being detained?
That reminded me of those there's like an old series
Daft Punk, that old Daft Punk video.
Well, yeah, and there was like YouTube videos where it was like they had like things written out for like lyric videos, and they were doing it like that way.
I've only ever seen that for Daft Punk. It was harder, better, fast, stronger. So not that many words, but
I think that's what started it. And then, but there's also like a YouTube trend that was making videos.
That was
like that.
Very early in YouTube history.
It was.
It was one of the very first YouTube videos I ever saw because I grew up in that generation. Completely obsessed with like those 4 Daft Punk songs: Aerodynamics, Better, Harder with Kanye, and then One More Time. As before they ever thought of teaming up with Pharrell, whatever.
With Feral Ghouls. I remember back in the day when Daft Punk didn't do music with the damn Feral Ghouls. Ever since he started teaming up with them, the Metro has just gone to shit.
But what does that have to do with sovereign citizens?
You're right. What does that have to do with sovereign citizens?
I don't think anything.
Fifth Amendment. That's what it has to do. Where's my...
When they could have just stopped and not said anything, they chose to speak.
Now, or like when they're not even arrested yet, they're just like,
am I being detained?
It's like, you're not even arrested yet. My Fifth Amendment, I demand to have a lawyer present.
That's not how it works. But then in the next sentence, then they'll quote a bunch of law cases. It's like, So it only applies when it's relevant to you.
Nothing means shit until the moment that I'm in trouble, and then in which case, obviously, you haven't read the proper legal, terminology.
See, but what's just as fun as their actions are the varying responses from police, because most sovereign citizens are the same across the board. Your variable in this experiment is really which officer pulls him over. Like, we saw that one, it was an older gentleman who was just sitting there incredulous, like, you went from a simple traffic violation to now you're going to jail. Why would you do that?
This doesn't make any sense. Like I'm trying to go through the logic with you, and that's the issue. Is these people don't have any logic.
And then you have Officer Irish, who's just like, I get to pull out my baton.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
You broke my baton.
What's a call sign? That was great.
So how do they get? Well, okay, I was about to say, how do a lot of them also along that route, if they're true extreme sovereign citizens, they also try not to pay taxes. So how do you have a place of employment, yet somehow not have taxes deducted? Unless it's 100% under the table, which that happens a lot.
Not nearly to the point anymore. Pretty much everything's online at this point.
Don't get me wrong. Within,
obviously, there will always till the end until we abolish.
It is almost
paper money.
Where I'm going with that is, it's almost impossible to completely sustain yourself in any job that would pay you 100% under the table.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
unless you're working like a weird mom and pop shop
or you're like my father who evaded paying child support because his best friend owned the company he worked for, so he was paid under the table for almost 20 years because it was court-ordered child support to the point where they would have taken it out of any check that he was given, so his boss just gave him everything under the table. Yeah, Dave, you owe well over $20,000 of child support. We got over it, though.
Those damn sovereign citizens. I think it's a major offshoot of the libertarian kind of ideals of, because taxation is theft, I shouldn't have to pay it because I do not consent to having my livelihood,
infringed
upon. Yeah. So I think sovereign citizens are the extreme right of libertarian / the Tea Party. They are the almost the anarchists.
Most libertarians would say extreme minimum government. Very few actually argue no government.
Yes, very few are the Adam Kokesh's, which I wouldn't.
He's just such a successful businessman. He's just like, I could do it myself. Fuck it.
I don't even know what he does, honestly. But if he does a business,
he has enough money that he could literally hire his own personal army.
Yeah, maybe he has enough money to run for president, I guess.
Not a large army, but I would consider if you had 50 trained individuals, that's an army.
Sure, but
with no daytime duties, they're not security guards at a hospital.
Oh yeah.
I mean, actual contractors.
Mm-hmm.
He has enough money. He could probably pay 50 contractors full salaries.
I wonder.
And their whole job is just when I say do it, you fucking do it.
Yeah, I have no idea what his obviously money situation is.
Do you
but
think Bill Gates has his own private army?
Well, he probably employs lots of security, so I wouldn't doubt it for a second. But it's just again the extreme offshoot of the libertarian movement, I would say. I think if you logically,
where's Gary Johnson fall on this scale?
if you logically follow and you drink the libertarian Kool-Aid enough, if you do truly believe taxation is theft, then you aren't going to pay into it, because to you that is seen as you're giving in. And also another offshoot is because government is inherently tyrannical.
And it is.
It is inherently tyrannical. Then obviously this is a tyrannical government right now, because it will inevitably will become that. So why pay into something that, to me is seen as evil? So I shouldn't pay into it because just by itself it's not right. And then the government itself is evil. So to even pay taxes is, by that very definition, immoral for me. It is immoral for me to pay taxes.
Well, quick rabbit hole off of that. Recent news, Kamala Harris, in an interview, well, not an interview, it was a town hall in Iowa sponsored by CNN.
Yes.
Where she went on record and said that if she had it her way, she would abolish all private health care. All health care would be private. Or public.
Yes.
So 17% of our economy completely government controlled, 100%. You get the health care we say you can have.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a very lofty thing to just
But
interject.
just that she openly admitted that's what I strive for. It's like, okay, comrade, let's take down the sickle and hammer and think about this.
What's ironic is,
isn't it ironic?
She's too left for Republicans or people that are conservatives to get behind, yet she's too right for most liberals to get behind.
Which is, if she was truly middle, anywhere near the center, I would be okay with that. But then when you have, even if that idea is an outlier, that is so far off the fucking scale, absolutely fucking not.
I've seen, from what I've read and seen of her, she seems very akin to a Hillary Clinton, to where she basically just takes on whatever is popular at the time, what is the mainstream of what's going on right now. And so right now it's mainstream for the Democratic position to be Medicare for All. So Medicare for All was the logical conclusion to Medicare for All, the abolishment of private healthcare. If everything is subsidized, if everything is ran through the government, healthcare wise, then obviously there's no need for there to be private healthcare. And so that's the logical conclusion to it. Yet,
the job of the government isn't to ensure the well-being of the citizen. That's what a lot of people say. And
well, ironically enough, that's actually, though, in the Constitution.
Yes.
So
but they take it to, that means
massive extreme.
We must control your life to ensure your well-being. Mm-hmm. How would you know how to live your life without the government?
What was it? There's only three things that in the Constitution the government says:
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
And wrong.
Yeah, I know.
But that's what.
Yet again, that's the topic.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about sovereign citizens. That's something they would say.
Oh, well, sure.
Even though that's
not
Declaration of Independence.
Yes.
They're the same thing, aren't they?
They are the same thing. Yeah.
My pocket Constitution begins with the Declaration of Independence.
I love, or one of my favorite. This is one of the first sovereign citizen videos I ever saw, which was someone was quoting. I think verbatim too. That's
the Articles of Federation.
The Articles of Confederation, and it blew my mind because I was like, that article that has not been the rule of the law of the land since of course, because I'm on the spot now. I'm gonna mess this up.
I got it for you. I got
89?
Nope.
Really?
Oh wow! It was only for.
No, when the Constitution was adopted, it was in 89, correct?
Oh.
Because that's
when it was fully ratified. Well, I'll double check, but the Articles of Confederation only lasted
20 years, 15 years, something like that.
Yeah, Let's see. It officially came into force in 1781.
Well, so 1781 was. Yeah, so 1781 was when the war was de facto over with the Battle of Yorktown.
Okay, and the
then
Constitution...
the war ended in 83 formally.
So it began. The ratification began in 76. Then it was ratified in 77.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah, and then the Constitutional Convention started in 87, and it was, it was replaced in 89. Yes. So you were right. There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, I was saying, 20 years, no, it was, so the war ended in, de facto,
76.
81.
Oh, well, yeah.
De jure in 83, but then the Constitutional Convention was in 87, and it was ratified by the states in 89. So the Articles of Confederation was only truly the law of a sovereign country for 6 years.
Which it says
6 years.
The Articles of Confederation. A guiding principle of the Articles was to preserve the independence and sovereignty of the states.
Yes.
So that's where largely the sovereign citizens get their ideas, is there's a difference between federal citizens and state citizens. They are arguing that they are only state citizens and therefore...
Well, yeah.
But then they still completely ignore their state's constitution and everything.
Yeah, so we were a confederacy, but we've been we became a federal republic, obviously, at 89.
Right.
And so a confederacy is far different than a federation. A lot of people don't actually know the difference between confederation and federation, but there is actually a very distinct difference between the two. And knowing that difference is pretty massive in understanding why we're a federal republic, federal democratic republic, and versus when we were first started, where we're confederacy, because under a confederacy, basically each state, and in this case, mind you, states in America are basically their own countries, pretty much. Under a federalist kind of state, each state is more like a province. And so the reason why it was very apparent almost immediately that the Articles of Confederation were not enough if we really wanted this country to be one country is the fact that they couldn't even raise revenue, because one of the biggest things was it had to be unanimous. Every bill for revenue that had to be passed had to be unanimous. Hey everyone, Tyler here. Just a quick little edit I wanted to make right now. So I was saying that the Continental Congress, under the Articles of Confederation, needed 100% approval for any type of tax revenue. What I was actually referring to was to make any type of amendments to the Articles of Confederation if they were needing to actually tax the people, because under the Articles of Confederation there is no mechanism for taxation, but rather Congress has the ability to request provisions, which is requesting money from the states to then fund itself. So essentially there is no taxation, but rather just them asking for tax revenue from the states individually. And again, if there was ever a point where they would change this to where there could actually be a mechanism for taxation in the Articles of Confederation, it would require a complete 100% vote from all the states. So thus, if even one state out of the original 13 said no to this provision, then that one state could veto it. Thus, there was zero way for the states under the current Articles of Confederation to have taxation. That I just wanted to clear that up, because as I was going through and editing this, it did seem a little I went a little haphazard on what I was saying, and I just wanted to make sure that I'm as clear as possible. Thank you. Which is pretty much impossible if you if you have a room more than one person, and you ask a vote on something, try getting a unanimous vote on literally almost anything. And
I don't think there has been in recent memory. Sekdef Mattis
had one vote against him.
One. That was
that
very
is shocking
close.
that you were gonna bring that up, because that was actually what I was also gonna bring up. That is the closest thing I can think of in terms of a Senate vote. It was 98-1, with only one person abstaining,
and I think it was a senator from Hawaii or California,
something like that, and then only one person voting nay. So one not voting, one voting nay. That's like 98 is almost impossible.
And that was a Trump nomination.
Mm-hmm.
That was just a
Mind
great
that too.
pick.
Mind that too.
But then he fired the man.
But yeah, so
less than a year later. 2 years? 2 years later.
Yeah, 2 years later. But yeah, so that's why it's so massive to understand the difference. But yeah, I going back to the sovereign citizen thing, is just so crazy how you can have these people who are so incredibly ignorant that they would quote a document that has not been used for over 200 years. That's like if I went and tried to be like I'm trying to think of something that's even comparable to 200 years, but
the Magna Carta.
Well, yeah, it's incredibly old.
But,
ironically enough, the Magna Carta has actually far more modern day implication or modern day impact than the Articles of Confederation do.
Yes.
And that was
a testament to how
15?
crazy the sovereign citizens are. Law enforcement across the country and corrections. I first learned about the sovereign movement when I was training as a corrections officer. That was an entire day of the curriculum.
Did you have a sovereign citizen in jail?
I did not personally meet any.
I do not consent to you shoving that up my asshole.
I did not personally come across any. I came across many known terrorist organizations, gangs, etc. Really? Because that's what they were considered. Under most law enforcement, the sovereign citizen movement is considered extremism. Now, that's up to individual state governments as well as federal. On the federal level, they're not quite there, like individual cases. But in Indiana, our home state, sovereign citizens are considered terrorists.
Good.
And it is taught that way by the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, which is what the Corrections Academy is a branch off of.
Interesting.
So
I just would never... My only thing is because by their very nature, they are so, like, I don't mess with other people, don't mess with me.
Right, but because of their actions upon, like, one of the most striking videos I've ever seen in my life, including all the debaucherous bullshit that's on 4chan, one of the videos that hit home the most for me was a video they showed us relating to a sovereign citizen. It was a nighttime traffic stop, and older, upon confrontation, like police officer going up, give me your ID, show me your license, blah, blah, blah. And this guy was arguing. When the officer went back to his vehicle to call for backup, this dude popped out of his truck with a Ruger Mini 14 or a full-out M14. Hard to tell. Long rifle with a magazine.
Wow.
But as I was saying,
anyway,
so one of the most striking videos I ever saw was sovereign citizen stop. Police officer went to his vehicle. Man came out with high-capacity semi-automatic rifle. And this police officer was either poorly trained or just was such a piece of shit. He never pulled his firearm. You just heard... They eventually went off screen. And you just heard him screaming for his life, like, hitting the top of the pitches, like he sounded like a fucking 6-year-old little girl, just, no, please, no, please, no, 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 and then you just heard, dum, 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 and then you're, dum, 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 and then you just saw the guy get in his car and drive away. It was like, that was, like, the man's screams were just so, like, fucking horrendous for a full-grown ass man, a law enforcement officer, to just panic in such a way and just, to be honest, he just died like a little bitch. Like, he didn't do anything. He never even drew his own firearm. He just let this man murder him. Mm-hmm. So, whoever you are, fuck you.
They're probably dead.
And hopefully Satan relays the message, somebody.
Hey, Satan, you hear this? Fuck you.
Hey,
sorry, not Satan.
That would be
you're a cool guy. I'm not.
No, yeah,
cool guy.
Satan, you're just doing your job that Daddy told you to do.
Yeah.
You're not a bad guy.
Yeah, why Daddy make you like that?
Well, he did rebel.
Yeah, but he made him, so he made him to rebel.
Can anyone make us do anything? Another sovereign citizen moment. You can't make me. I don't consent. Everything is of my own volition.
I think law enforcement would disagree with you. Show me your ID. I don't consent very well. Pop. Yep. And yep. There you go to jail.
Lord, please.
Take this white demon. This white demon. Yeah.
All of the girlfriends praying with him, but simultaneously holding the camera at the same time.
Hey, good on her for having one of the
very still hands.
One of the best camera shots I've seen. Like, she got everything the whole time. It was quite amazing.
Including when they accidentally tried to roll up the window, but they rolled back the sunroof. He's like, no, close it.
Close the sunroof. Can't let the white demons get in that way. Whew. Last time I put down...
Could you imagine a cop climbing on top of your car through the sunroof and be like, step out of the car?
He pulled... Dude, if they had pulled them through the sunroof, that would have been the best video ever made.
Oh, we're gonna have to Google that now. Suspect pulled through
sunroof. That'd be... Oh my god, that'd be
sunroof.
Amazing.
Oh, I'm gonna make a PowerPoint about it. Sunroof extractions. The element of surprise. Everyone expects the baton through the passenger window, driver window, but
no one suspects
the Spanish Inquisition.
Through the sunroof, exactly.
They probably wouldn't even know what sunroof is. Like, what's glass?
Yeah.
What? You can see through this, but it's solid.
There wasn't glass around that time.
Hey, maybe when you were that poor, like however poor whoever was back then, I'm sure you might never have seen glass.
Wasn't the Spanish Inquisition up until
1300s-ish? 13s
no.
to 15s?
No.
I have no idea, to be honest.
I almost don't want to say it, but I thought it was until the Napoleonic invasion in 1807, 1808, something like that. And then he put into the Inquisition, like, formally.
1478. It was established in 1478. Oh, wow. It's a whole organization, not just a movement. I did not know that.
When did it come to an end? I feel like I'm, like, completely wrong. I'm an idiot. But I thought for some reason that it had gone on. And, like, don't get me wrong. It, like, probably stopped.
Oh, wow. During the reign of Charles. Yeah, up until... Oh, wait, no.
It probably stopped around, like, the 1600s, but, like, formally...
All the way up until the early 18s, because I skipped to end of the Inquisition, and it says during the reign of Charles IV of Spain, 1788 to 1808. So,
okay, you gotta give me...
a specific date?
No, I'm saying you gotta give me some props for that one. I called that dead on.
You mean you're randomly pulling it out of your ass?
I said literally 1807 to 1808, and it was 1808.
Yeah, but it started way earlier.
No, yeah. I didn't say when it started. I was just saying when it ended. Because I was like, no one expects...
Sounds like a non-answer to me.
You know what? You're right. You're right.
You go flog yourself.
Like the people in the Spanish Inquisition would do.
Or Catholics. I had a buddy in high school, not really a devout Catholic, except for when it suited him, but he would exert his own penance on himself. He had it like a no-shit flog, and he would...
You're exaggerating.
No. This was also the same man.
He would flog himself.
Yes.
Man, self-flagellation is fucking intense.
It's kinky.
Imagine.
He didn't do it to the extent where like he would get blood blisters, but not like full out like actually ripping his flesh.
Yeah, because like during the I remember reading about during the
no, he didn't have like the rocks or anything tied to the ends. It was just leather knots.
Like the 1370s and 60s during the bubonic plague, the Black Death, that you have these minutes. They'd be walking like through like streets, and so they're just self-flagellating for like
kind of like Monty Python, the priests who hit themselves with the board.
That's where that comes from. They would carry these large crosses.
Yep.
And would be whipping themselves, and they would like trade off between whipping and everything.
Catholics are the kinkiest, man.
Well, I mean, during that time there was only Catholicism,
right? Actually, all the way up until that Henry VIII broke from the church.
No, it was far before that. The Great Schism was during the 1300s, but I can't remember if it was during the...
But it wasn't an organized thing. We didn't have, like,
Yes, you did. You had Orthodoxy and Catholicism. I just can't remember if it was during the bubonic plague, or if it was during the 13, 15, 17s, during the Great Dying Period, or whatever. I just can't remember which one it was. But whatever, that doesn't matter.
I always just think of the separation back to Henry VIII.
Oh, the Church of England?
I'm going to make my own church with hookers and blow.
Essentially, because at least with the Protestant movement, it was like there's legitimate problems within the church. Let's change these.
Well, it was also just a doctrinal interpretation difference. The difference between, should we worship Jesus himself or the woman who gave birth to him through immaculate conception?
Yeah, there were several. What was it?
We're way off topic.
From sovereign citizens, you're right.
How do
sovereign citizens view Catholicism?
They are an inherently Christian-based group.
They do,
according
because...
to their Wikipedia.
No, because almost on every video, it's God's law. God's law.
Let's see. I want to read this verbatim, just so I don't get it fucked up. Theories. Where was it?
Theories.
The concept of a sovereign citizen originated in 1971. Very recent. In the Posse Comitatus movement. I just brought this up the other day.
Fuck is that?
Posse Comitatus?
Yeah.
You know, think of it as like in old westerns, a sheriff would round up a posse. And he was able to deputize them because of things such as Posse Comitatus.
I don't know.
But anyways,
I'm sorry.
But the Posse Comitatus movement, as a teaching of Christian identity, Minister William P. Gale, the concept has influenced the tax protester movement, the Christian Patriot movement, and the Redemption movement. The last of which claims that the U.S. government uses its citizens as collateral against foreign debt. Now that is intriguing.
That's insane.
No, it's that number on the bottom of your birth certificate that's in red. That's actually an account number where the U.S. government stores money under your name and your social security number since birth. That's why you have it. I had someone actually tell me that. Like, I met one of those people. And it was like, really? Show me. And he's like, yeah. If you just go to the bank and you give them that number, you can access that. It's like, where's your millions of dollars, bud? They're like, well, it's on the dark web.
It's on the dark web. What is the dark web? Explain to me the dark web. Oh,
if I told you...
Yeah, you can't.
It wouldn't be dark anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, no, this is exactly what I mean by a lot of the libertarian ideals of the government isn't God. Only God's God. And it's
Ooh, here we go. The Posse Comitatus movement was a loosely organized far-right populist social movement in the United States starting in the late 1960s, whose memory spread a conspiracy-minded anti-government and anti-Semitic message in the name of white Christians to counter what they believe is an attack on their social and political rights.
Everything other than the anti-Semitic part, like, I was like, yeah, far right, yep, super religious, yep, and then anti-Semitic, I was like, wait, what? But of course, well, actually, I guess it goes hand in hand. Far right is usually anti-Semitic.
Well, which then it goes into one of the main creators of this, as I read earlier, was the founder of the Christian Identity movement, which Wikipedia then elaborates. Christian Identity, also known as Identity Christianity, is a racist, anti-Semitic, white supremacist interpretation of Christianity, which holds that only Germanic, Anglo-Saxon, Celtic, Nordic, Aryan people, and those of kindred blood, are the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and hence the descendants of the ancient Israelites. So we started way down here in the sand, and we just went as far north as possible.
At least with the that one group, the
Posse Comitatus.
the Hebrew
the black Hebrew Israelites.
It's like, okay, I can at least understand their thinking because this is around Egypt and Israel,
right?
And
Lots of black people,
and yeah, there's a large African population there. But like to think that the Abrahamic,
the whitest people in the world descended from sand people.
Like, I mean,
sand people not used in the derogatory sense, just as a generality.
Like Tatooine sand people, guys. Get your head out of your asses, obviously. I mean, it's possible, but that's very, very unlikely. Like, that is absolutely insane. Like, if you were telling me, like, we were the descendants of these people from, like, 250,000 years ago, well, yeah, sure, because at that point we had done a lot of migration, but at 0 AD, there wasn't much migration, other than, like, maybe the Jewish diaspora, or, you know, things like that. But for the most part, most people aren't mass migrating to the point where you're changing entire, like, ethnic groups of certain areas. Like, that's insane. Like, to even think that's even...
now,
possible,
is there evidence that the Vikings did have trade routes as far east as Turkey? Yes. But that's still like 680 minimum.
Yeah, try like 800 to 900. And again, at that point, it's like, okay, trade route, sure, but to say that there was mass human migration, like, you have to understand, like, humans, like, stopped migrating around, like, 3000 BC, and I can already hear people saying humans migrate all the time. Yes, what I'm saying is
mass
migration to the point
where you can spread your genetic seed across an entire continent.
Yes, we're Homo sapiens sapiens are literally inhabiting this place, and because these early proto-humans are basically the precursors to all groups, races, cultures in a certain area, to say that was possible at around 0 AD is preposterous. There were humans on every continent other than Antarctica by about, I think, 3,000 or 4, even before written history.
Well before
written history. We're talking probably a 100,000 BC, roughly. That
when the Bering Land Strait was still passable.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so I hate to say that because this I'm kind of talking on my ass because I don't exactly know the specifics on it, but to say that there weren't humans to the point where we're the descendants of these people is insane. Like, literally, outside of the Jewish migration
you mean you don't believe in creationism?
That's a good one. Yeah.
So, bringing it back, we're reeling it in. sovereign
Real, and we're
citizens.
getting towards the end, yeah.
So at least
I love them. I think they are
some-
the dumbest pieces of shit around.
Apparently, there are some that are a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Literally self-conscious in their beliefs. Because here's an article saying, some of those in the movement believe that the term sovereign citizen is an oxymoron and prefer to label themselves as individuals seeking the truth. So just so everyone is aware, when you hear someone describing themselves as I am a person seeking the truth, they mean sovereign citizen.
It's like when you say theist, everyone's theist. Everyone believes in a God, even if they don't believe in a God. You know why? Because God exists. Thus, atheists don't exist.
What?
Because they're always their God.
What more evidence you need?
What more evidence you need? Look out there. Look out there. See that?
See that sunrise?
See that sunrise?
You think that could happen by accident?
You think that's by chance?
That's God. It's not God when you're speaking in that way either. It's God. Like, you have to put that hard G-A-H-G-G-A-W-D. It's not God.
I tell you right
it's
now.
God.
I tell you right now.
I swear to God.
That's all I need right there. That's all I need.
Which is also a way I usually identify as someone being absolutely full of shit. Because you'll hear those people who are like, habitual liars. I'm like, nah, bro, I swear to God. And they always say it in that exact same way. Every compulsive liar I've ever met has used that phrase in that specific inflection. It's like, no, I swear to God.
Like the southern
No, my Mexican buddy Luis would say shit like that too in that way. And he's the one who would self-flog, who was also eventually deported.
Okay, then.
Well, he was trading drugs for sex with a minor, so fuck him.
Well, yeah, you know, pedophiles are not.
Luis Ramirez. There's a fuck ton of them. Good luck finding out which one.
But yeah. So let's, again, we're, coming to the end now. Just try bringing this home. Sovereign citizens.
We can sum it up in about 10 seconds.
Your overall thought.
They're fucking crazy, and they are a danger to society. Not only in spreading their beliefs to otherwise innocent, dumb, uneducated people. Not that being uneducated is dumb. I'm saying it as a list. Uneducated and dumb.
Mm-hmm. Dangerous combination.
Which is why they're susceptible to these leeches upon society.
And, I see it as nothing more... I bring them into two categories. One is the people that just want to get out of a speeding ticket.
Oh, the selfish ones.
The selfish ones.
Separate from the true believers.
And then the ones that have drank so much into the Kool-Aid that...
True believers are especially dangerous. Because they are no holds barred, willing to try and protect themselves from a traffic stop.
And the best way to know the difference between the two is when their windshield gets broken. The ones that are doing it because they're because they just want to get out of the traffic.
No.
Okay, I'm opening the door. I'm opening the door.
You don't have to do that.
You don't have to. I'm opening
True
the door.
believers start fighting.
No, true believers are going, I do not consent. I do not consent. Things like that.
No, I think the true believers are the ones who put up a fight, and they're the ones who are
that
most
almost
dangerous.
Never happens, but yeah.
Well, which good.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think they're hilarious to make fun of, but at the same time, I would agree.
As our newfound.
Newfound? No, I've known about these guys for a
long
time.
No. I was gonna say. Let me finish. I had to pause.
Oh, sorry.
But as Donut Operator has shown to us, it is greatly amusing.
Yeah, they are, and but yeah, I would agree with you that it is a threat to the highly uneducated or very ignorant people that just, I don't really know anything about anything. Well, let me just learn these few quick talking points. That means I don't have to be pulled over.
Or
anymore.
I still think my absolute favorite was the guy with flashcards. He even knew there ain't no way that my drugged out brain is going to remember all of this shit, but I know how to read. Dang it! So I'm gonna keep this in the glove box. I get pulled over. Yep, you're gonna say this. It's like cue cards, like up until they break your glass. There's not a cue card for prepare to get drugged through broken glass and attacked by dogs.
Yeah, I don't think that is one. Yeah, I'm looking.
That would be a little concerning.
That's not.
Boy,
that's not
what?
One. Dog. Hey, dog, ain't one.
Yeah, when you hear barking, prepare. Yeah. Wait. Oh shit.
But yeah, Sovereign Citizens, they're great. Tar and Feathered, everyone. Tyler, Robert. I'll see you guys all later.
Signing out.